Employer NI rate change. In the 2024 autumn budget, it was announced that from the 6th of April 2025, employers' national insurance contributions will increase from 13.8% to 15%. In this video, you'll learn more about these changes and how they may impact your national insurance liability. We'll also let you know what we're doing to help you plan for this. As well as the 1.2% increase, the point at which employers start to pay the new rate will significantly change. Currently, employers pay national insurance on employee earnings over £9,100 per year. From the 6th of April 2025, this will decrease to earnings over £5,000 per year. These changes mean employers will be paying NI contributions at a higher percentage, but are also likely to pay for employees whose earnings were previously below the existing threshold. To support the smallest businesses and hopefully offset the new costs, the government will increase the employment allowance from £5,000 to £10,500 per year. There is also a removal of the cap on who can claim this, to allow larger businesses to also claim the allowance. To help you plan for future employer NI costs, we've created a new report for you. The report includes values using both the current and new rates of employers' NI to provide an indication of your future liability. Later in this video, we'll look at how to download this report into Sage 50 Payroll. Let's start by running this report. To do this, from the employee list, select the required employees. To select all employees, first click Clear, then click Swap. Next, from the main toolbar, click Reports. The Reports window opens. From the folder list on the left, click User Defined, Local. The new report is named Employer NI Costs Indications. To preview the report, first, select the report, then from the toolbar, click Preview. The criteria window opens. To project costs using a specific pay period, enter the required date range. In this example, to project costs using data for the tax month of November, enter the date range 6th of November 2024 to 5th of December 2024. Once you're happy, click OK. The report preview window opens. The employee details, NI category, and payment period are shown here. Please note, the report includes only employees with an NI category of A, B, C, or J. This means any employees under the age of 21 in NI category M and apprentices under the age of 25 in NI category H are excluded. However, for these employees, employers must only pay NI on earnings above the upper secondary threshold, currently £50,270. The employee gross pay and gross for NI values for each pay period are shown here. The employee gross NI-able earnings for each pay period in the current tax year and employer NI contributions at the rate of 13.8% are shown here. The final columns on the report are indicative only, to help you project any increase in employer NI costs in the new tax year. Please note, your actual liability will depend on the exact payments processed in the 2025 to 26 tax year. This column shows the projected NI-able earnings for each employee once the secondary threshold reduces to £5,000 per year from the 6th of April 2025. This column shows the projected cost of employer NI contributions for each pay period once the employer NI rate increases to 15% from the 6th of April 2025. This column shows the value of the projected increase in employer NI contributions for each employee. The final column indicates which employees have been identified as a new employer NI cost to the business. For example, those who you may not have paid NI for prior to the new legislation. Let's now look at what this really means in terms of cost. To move to the end of the report, click here. This figure represents the total projected value of employer NI contributions at the new rate of 15% for the selected date range. In this example, the figure represents a total for the tax month of November. To project this for a quarter, multiply the value by 3. To project this for a year, multiply the value by 12. This figure provides the total projected difference to employer NI contributions between the current and new rates. Again, to project this for a quarter, multiply by 3, and for a full year, multiply by 12. To send the report to Excel, from the toolbar, select Report to Excel. Employment Allowance. To help the smallest businesses manage the rise in employer NI costs, starting from the 6th of April 2025, the employment allowance will increase to £10,500 per year. First, let's look at an example using legislation for the tax year 2024 to 25. Based on this report, the total employer NI contribution for the tax month November 2024 is £2,105.46. Assuming the same amount for the other 11 months, the annual cost would be £25,265.52. If eligible, this cost would be reduced by the £5,000 employment allowance for 2024 to 25, resulting in a net employer NI liability of £20,265.52. Now, let's look at an example using legislation for the tax year 2025 to 26. Based on this report, the projected employer NI contribution for the tax month is £2,629.02. Assuming the same projection for the other 11 months, the annual cost would be £31,548.24, an increase in employer NI contributions of £6,282.72 on the previous year. However, with the increase in employment allowance for 2025 to 26, if eligible, this cost would be reduced by £10,500, resulting in a net employer NI liability of £21,048.24. To check your eligibility for employment allowance, please visit gov.uk. Let's now look at how to download and locate this report. In Sage 50 Payroll, to access the Help Center, press the F1 function key on your keyboard. Here you can access support guides relevant to the area of the software you're in. To search for a specific help topic, use the search box. To search for information on the new employer NI changes, enter Forecast NI and click Search. To open the support guide, click here. To download the report, scroll down, then click here. The report will download automatically and appear in the Downloads folder. If you're prompted to save the file manually, select your Downloads folder, then click Save. Locate the new report, named Employer NI Costs Indications Report. Right-click on the downloaded report and choose Copy. Let's now look at how to add this report into Sage 50 Payroll. To do this, we need to identify the location of the reports directory, then paste the report into this location. To get started, from the Help menu, choose About. To open the Reports directory, click here. Now double-click the folder named UserDef. Within this folder, right-click and choose Paste. The report has now been added to your payroll software. To close this window, click here. To locate this report from the employee list, select the required employees. Next, from the main toolbar, click Reports. From the folder list on the left, click User-Defined, Local. To view your projected employer NI costs for any given date range, click Preview. Now enter the required date range here and click OK. You've now learned about the upcoming changes in employer NI legislation and how they may impact your employer's national insurance liability in advance of the new tax year.